Good day everyone, my name is Roshan Kurji Volfango and currently studying in Caraga State University and a first year BS Math student. And I'm excited to discuss my topic that is all about professional ethics, code of conduct for public officials and employees, or RA 6713. But first, let us know what is our objectives. Our first objective is to be able to define and explain the 8 norms of conduct, the importance of a code of conduct, and who is covered by these rules, providing a specific example of compliant and non-compliant behaviors. And the second is to demonstrate a commitment to ethical conduct in public service, recognizing the importance of these norms for maintaining public trust and effective governance. So why it is important to have a code of conduct? It is important because it serves as a guide of the government employees. It's like a guide to a person or employee in his actions or doings, whether it is right or wrong. So in short, code of conduct is like a list of commandments that need to be followed by the government employee. Who are covered by this code? It includes the elective and appointive officials, permanent or temporary, whether the career or non-career service, including the military and police personnel, and whether or not they receive compensation regardless of the amount. Norms of conduct. It is the policy of the state to promote high standard ethics in the public service. So this law establishes standards that public officials and employees must adhere to, encompassing penalties for any violation. And its purpose is to guide governments, officials, and employees on the proper conduct and ethical standard expected to them. So there are 8 norms of conduct. Number 1 is commitment to public interest. Number 2 is professionalism. Number 3 is justness and sincerity. Number 4 is political neutrality. Number 5, responsiveness to the public. Number 6 is nationalism and patriotism. Number 7, commitment to democracy. And number 8 is simple living. So first, let's talk about the commitment to public interest. Public officials and employees must prioritize the public interest over their personal interest, and they must utilize government resources efficiently, effectively, honestly, and economically, avoiding waste and corruptions. So for example, a teacher charge students for extra tutoring outside of school hours, taking advantage of the positions of authority. So this exploits students and prioritize personal profit over educational needs. Number 2 is professionalism. Public officials and employees are expected to perform their duties with excellence, professionalism, intelligence, and skill. So every officials or employee must encourage themselves to manage policy and decision making. They should dedicate themselves to their responsibilities and to avoid creating perceptions of favoritism or patronage. For example, a government employee who consistently arrives late for work or fails to complete assigned tasks demonstrate a lack of professionalism. Number 3 is justness and sincerity. Public officials and employees must uphold ethical values and remain true to the people. So they should ensure fair and impartial decisions, avoid favoritism, and practice political neutrality. So there should be fairness, avoiding discrimination against anyone, particularly the unprivileged. And next is impartially, making fair and unbiased decision without favoritism. And political neutrality, providing service to everyone regardless of political affiliation. Number 4 is political neutrality. So public officials and employees should provide service to everyone without unfair discrimination and regardless of party affiliation or preferences. So for example, a teacher in public school organized a student field trip to a historical site, inviting all students to participate regardless of their parents' political views or social standing. So the focus of the teacher is to provide educational opportunities for all students. So by this example, it states that public officials and employees must serve all members of public equally and fairly, without favoring or discriminating against anyone based on their political beliefs or party affiliation. So their duty is to serve the entire community, not just those who share their political views. Number 5 is responsiveness to the public. Public officials and employees must be responsive to the needs of the public, providing efficient services and avoiding red tape. So, this means that being accessible by making government service readily available to the public, and being transparent in providing clear and understandable information to the public, and also being anti-red tape by avoiding unnecessary delays or bureaucratic hurdles. So, for example, a government office that takes excessive amount of time to process a simple request, causing inconvenience to the public, is not responsive. Number 6 is nationalism and patriotism. So public officials and employees should be loyal to the country and its people. They should promote locally produced goods and technologies, encourage pride in Filipino identity, and advocate for national sovereignty. So, national loyalty means promoting the use of locally produced goods, resources, and technologies. Patriotism means encouraging the pride of being Filipino. And sovereignty means protecting national sovereignty from foreign influence. So, for example, a government employee actively promoting imported goods over locally made products goes against this principle. Number 7 is commitment to democracy. So public officials and employees must uphold democratic principles and values. So it means that they should respect the right of the people to express their opinions and uphold the Constitution. So respect for civilian authority by maintaining the principle of civilian control over the military. Next is accountability, is being transparent and accountable for the public for public actions. And the rule of law, upholding the Constitution and rule of the law. So for example, government officials who uses their positions to personal gain or engage in corrupt practices, undetermined commitment to democracy. Last but not the least is simple living. Public officials and employees should live modestly, maintaining lifestyles appropriate to their position and incomes. So this means modesty is living within their means and income. Transparency is declaring their assets, liabilities, and net worth to ensure accountability. So, for example, a government employee who flaunts their wealth or indulge in extravagant spending would be considered a violation of this principle. Administrative and disciplinary cases. Administrative and disciplinary cases arise from failure to uphold ethical standards and can result in various penalties. First is grave offense. This includes serious dishonesty, gross neglect of duty, grave misconduct, nepotism, and disloyalty to the Republic of the Philippines. So, penalties range from suspension of 6 months and 1 day to 1 year for the first offense and dismissal from the service for a second offense. Next is less grave offense. Less grave offense include less serious dishonesty, oppression, or grave abuse of authority, frequent unauthorized absences, or habitual tardiness, refusal to perform official duty, inefficiency, and incompetence, and having financial or material interest in transaction related to their office. So penalties include suspension of one month and 1 day to 6 months for the first offense and dismissal from service to a second offense. Next is light offense. Include willful failure to pay just debts, failure to pay taxes, gaining the use of office space without authority, promoting the sale of tickets from private enterprises without proper authority, and failure to act promptly on letters of request, failure to process documents within a reasonable time, failure to attend people who need services, and engaging in private practices without proper authorization, and other specific offenses as defined in this law. And the penalties for light offense range from the reprimand to dismissal from the service. Next is sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is a grave offense with penalty of dismissal from the service, and this law defines various acts of sexual harassment, including unwanted touching, derogatory remarks, verbal abuse or threats with sexual overtones, and persistent unwanted attention. Last but not the least is violation of Anti-Red Tape Act. It's a grave offense with a penalty of dismissal and perpetual disqualification from public office. So, this law also specifies penalties for like offenses, ranging from special without pay and mandatory attendance in an orientation program to dismissal and perpetual disqualification from public services. To sum up the topic, Republic Act of 6713 plays a crucial role in upholding ethical standards and promoting accountability within Philippine government. So that's all. I hope you learned and enjoyed the video and the topic that I discussed. Mabuhay!